CBS Sports presents the Geico Play of the Day.
In Buffalo, the Bills' Josh Allen finds tight end Dawson Knox to give Buffalo its first score of the game. The Jets' Sauce Gardner attempts to make the tackle, but Dawson flips it into the end zone. It was Knox's third touchdown of the year. Then it was time to celebrate with whom else? The Bills Mafia.
Geico. Save even more when you bundle home and car insurance. This is the State Farm postgame show.
And hello again, everyone, and welcome to the State Farm postgame show. A reminder, coming up next, 32 pro anglers, Bill Cower, competing for $100,000. That on Lake Palestine in Tyler, Texas. Tune into Major League Fishing's General Tire Heavy Hitter Special. Again, that's coming up next right here on CBS. And back here inside of Studio 43, we've got a full house as we get you to the highlights.
Hey, guys, you know, if you want to play in Buffalo in December, you better get ready to play with a weather-ready quarterback. Ooh. Both Mike White and Josh Allen handled the elements pretty good, much like the former great Jim Kelly did up there. But look at Josh finds Dawson Knox right at the end of the first half for a touchdown. As he goes leaping in, somersaulting in, back comes Josh Allen. He's going to take it in from 5 yards out. 14-7 Buffalo. Now, Mike White got hit a number of times today. One time earlier, got the wind knocked out of him. This time here by Matt Milano.
Oh, man.
This is a rib. This is something that could linger. But he comes back into the game, shows his toughness. There's Rob Sala on the sideline. Bills go on to win. They get to 10-3. They still have the #1 seed in the AFC, 20-12 over the Jets.
Yeah, the Bills look good. And the fact that Dawson Knox stepped up for their team. I mean, he's been a good tight end for this squad for a long time, but having him as another option outside of Diggs and Gabe Davis, they just got quality players all around.
You know, I go back to the play that C.J. Mosley made at the end of the first half. That led to that Dawson Knox touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
4th and 1 from their own 43. The Buffalo Bills, Dawson Knox come up underneath the center because he had done that earlier and had done a quarterback sneak.
He tried to pull a Palomalu, coach.
Yeah, C.J. Mosley said, you know what, I got you covered, brother. You're not going to happen. But then, you know what? They didn't snap the ball.
Yeah.
So, you know, but that's sometimes with a divisional opponent, you know certain things. You almost count on them anticipating certain things.
Right,
yeah.
And so you almost have to go against your own tendencies at times because they know you almost too well.
It's a little bit of a chess game.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you know, and it's plays like that. And listen, the New York Jets team, their defense is special. Mike White showed me something today. Donovan Knight, as a running back, I'm telling you, he was special. So there's a lot of positives to take away from the Jets. Obviously, you didn't get the win. And for the Bills, man, they just find a way.
Hey, the Bills, they did it really, when you look at it today, it was managing the game, not turning it over, being smart that way, but they did it on defense. Greg Rousseau, no Von Miller, he goes out and gets 2 sacks. They got 4 total against Mike White, and oh my gosh, he took about as many big hits as you'll see a quarterback take. And the way he played, I thought if the Jets lost and if it was an ugly loss by them, then I thought maybe Zach Wilson would be the quarterback this week. I said if they lost, and it was not pretty, okay. Woo. Yeah, thank you. But there he is. Some of these hits he took, that was one to the rib.
Oh, man.
My gosh. Man, is this a replay of the same play?
Yes.
But it is, okay. They all look devastating.
And he took more hits after he came back into the game.
He did. But listen, that's part of the job. You know that, Boomer, coach, Nate, everybody. The quarterback, you got to be tough. And he had to show all that toughness today, and he did a great job.
You know, you actually said something about Josh Allen wasn't happy, and you could tell in the interview. And I think we all can understand he's frustrated. The Jets are frustrating him. I would tell you right now, that is the last team that the Buffalo Bills want to see in the playoffs.
Yes. Yeah.
They would not want to play them a third time this year.
I really think there's quite a few teams would not want to see the Jets in the playoffs. If they get there, they're a force just for one reason. The defense alone is going to give you
no question. And they got the ball down there a couple times. I'm telling you, you walk away from this game, I feel better. I was more impressed with the Jets after the game than I was even going before the game.
Right,
Just the way they responded to everything that was taking place around them and the way the Bills respected them. And you talking about Josh Allen having to take it upon himself at times to move the chains. And he was putting himself in harm's way because he knew it was up to him to do some things unconventional and to put that team on his back.
I think that's right. The way they played Buffalo, because they had great respect for the the New York Jets, and they showed.
And the final score in that one, Buffalo wins it 20-12. Bills 4 straight wins. And again, we've talked about the particulars of that victory. And afterwards, it'll be very interesting to hear what the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott, had to say.
Hey, that's a great job, man, right? All 3 phases, just gutsy football. It's going to be like that down the stretch, right? That's how we prepare. It's going to be like that. Great job. And then defense, way to come out and seal the game. Great win. Hey, I won or 100, man. It don't matter. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I tell you, this team, I said before, they lost those 2 games 3 weeks ago, and there's something about a chip on their shoulder right now, and they ain't going to stop. They don't care. Yeah, we may be ugly, we may win this thing, but they're going to will themselves. And that quarterback, he is the ultimate leader.
And credit to Sean McDermott.
Yeah, totally.
You know, the team is usually a reflection of your head coach. And the way that he approaches it, you can tell they don't get too high, they don't get too low. They play with this hunger, but there's also this humility. And that's the reason why they were able to correct themselves when they were on that slide this year.
So take a look at Josh Allen today. Let's take a look at some of the plays he made, dealing with the elements, making some throws. You can see right here, he's got perfect protection. He's going to stand in there. He's going to step up, and he's going to take off the football. And Nate, this is what you were talking about, making plays. Indiscriminately just making plays. You know, Brian Daboll, the coach of the Giants, who was their OC the last 4 years, told me that Josh used to say, let me get hit early in the game, and I'll get into the game. And that's exactly what happened to him in this game. The numbers aren't overly impressive, but I think we could all speak about the way that he plays the game.
No doubt.
How his teammates respond to him. And why he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
If I'm in that huddle or in the locker room before the game, and Josh Allen comes up to the squad and he says, I need you to give everything you got today. By the way that he plays, the only thing I can do is do that. There's certain quarterbacks that might ask that of me, and I might be thinking to myself, you don't even give everything you got. So how do you expect us to go out there and lay it all on the line?
That's being real.
But that's why this team plays like that. They play their hearts out every single game, and it starts with their QB. They follow his lead.
No question.
Yeah, you know, you're right. No matter who they play, you know the word, they play a little angry, whatever you want to say, but that must be Sean McDermott, just the way he coaches them during the week. And, of course, they were ready to play the Jets because they know the Jets defense and that football team is really good. But, you know, too, Josh Allen, think about his college career. I mean, this was a beautiful sunny day for him compared to Wyoming in some of those games. So he's used to playing it, and that's one of the reasons why I think they drafted him. They knew he could play in these kind of conditions and still get it done.
Now, I know they weren't playing against a prolific scoring team, Bill, but I'm still focused on what we talked about during the pregame show, especially with the loss of Von Miller. That Buffalo D got it done as well.
Yeah, you know, they've realized now they brought some blitzes today. Edmonds, Milano, you saw them in the backfield a lot on some of the blitzes. And the guy, Ed Oliver, has showed up now as an inside force to be reckoned with. And with Poyer. And listen, Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott, they're going to find ways. That's a veteran defense right now. And they will get pressure on the quarterback. They're not going to give up a lot of points. You're going to have to earn everything you can against them. There's not going to be any big plays or trick plays or breakdown in coverages. That's just who the Buffalo Bills are.
So Rob Saleh just said that Mike White is going to go to the hospital for precautionary measures. They'll check him out. But as long as everything is okay, he is unquestionably their starter next week. So I don't think this is a week-to-week thing for him. That kid deserves, you know, the right to be their starting quarterback with the way that he played today. Now, if he's hurt, that's a different story. But as long as he is healthy, he's able to take the field. He is their starter.
He should be. With this 3 games body of work that they have, I've seen nothing but a guy who's going out there and laying everything on the line and a guy that the offense believes in.
And that's just it. You know, wide receivers play better when they have a quarterback that they can trust. I mean, look at the explosion of Garrett Wilson. We know that he's a really good wide receiver, but, I mean, the fact that he has that chemistry with Mike White, it goes a long way.
Yeah, you know, just watching their offense today, they put up some good numbers, Mike White did. But I saw some routes, some different plays. I just watched it here on TV, but more creative. And, you know, even watching Garrett Wilson, some of those routes, Elijah Moore. I mean, listen, we talk about their defense. They got a receiving group that's really good. They got running backs who can get it done, too. Should have stayed with them a little more today, but I'm not second guessing.
Well, they did. They came out in the second half between Bam Knight and Michael Carter. Man, I'll tell you, you put that in there, that will also help the defense. It keeps them fresh on off the field. I'm telling you, this offense took a stride today against a really good defense on the road. And I know you lost the game, but I'll tell you what, to me, you're walking away from that game saying, you know what, let's give ourselves some credit. Okay,
Yeah.
we lost this game today, but you know what? We took a step forward.
There's some concern, though. Quentin Williams.
That's
limping off
a
the
big
field.
concern.
It's a big concern because he's the anchor of the defense.
They played a Super Bowl favorite. Everybody, we've all said all year long about Buffalo, to go in there at their place and fight the way they did tells you about the Jets.
Appreciate you taking us on the players' attitude as well, too. Looking at what their quarterback gets done, they got to get it as well. Quick timeout, back with more after this. Saturday on CBS, a college hoops triple header tips off with the CM Newton Classic. Then 4 legendary schools square off in back-to-back games. That at the CBS Sports Classic. We'll get the day started with Inside College Basketball Saturday on CBS as we welcome you back to the CBS StateFarm post-game show. And let's get back to the highlights with Coach.
Yeah, the New York, the Baltimore Ravens going against the Pittsburgh Steelers is a big game. And J.K. Dobbins came back, and he was in rare form. 4 yards there for the touchdown. The concern here is going to see Todd Huntley is bent backwards here as he keeps this ball right through. See that hit. He had to exit the game. It was a concussion protocol. And so they had to rely then on Johnson to come in. But it was Mitch Trubisky. He had 3 picks. This one here all the way in the Baltimore red zone. This one was in the end zone. It was put on the 1-yard line. But he had 3 picks in a day, and the Baltimore Ravens came away with a 16-14 win. You can see again Dobbins with 120 yards rushing. Tyler Huntley played very well before he exited the exit. There was 3 turnovers by Mitch Trubisky. It really turned out to be the difference in the game.
And Baltimore ends a 4-game losing streak to Pittsburgh. It was J.K. Dobbins on the ground. 15 carries, 120 yards, 1 touchdown rushing. And it was our Melanie Collins after the game talking with J.K. Dobbins.
Well, J.K., congratulations on the win. They say you're not a Raven until you beat the Steelers. So do you officially feel like a Raven now?
Officially, finally. It took 3 years, but it's good to get a win here in Pittsburgh, you know, and we're going to continue to build on this and keep getting better.
Yeah, this game is always a physical matchup, always close. How would you describe what it was like to play in this one?
It's like an old school rivalry, you know. It's kind of like, because I played at Ohio State, it's kind of like the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry. It's a lot of tradition, a lot of great players that played in this game, and I'm just happy.
All right, we have the Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow. Check out this throw right here. It's Jamar Chase in between 2 defenders. 15-yard touchdown for Jamar Chase. He's been balling since he's been back. How about this little trickeration? Gives it to Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon pitches it back, and they find a wide-open Trenton Irwin for the touchdown, pulling out all the stops up against their division foe. But they would win this one. Cincinnati improves to 9-4.
And Nate mentioned Jamar Chase, 10 catches, 119 yards, and a touch. And after the game, it was our A.J. Ross talking with Jamar Chase.
Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase, no T. Higgins, no Tyler Boyd, no problem. You had 10 catches, 119 yards, a touchdown. Joe Burrow spread it around to several different receivers. Yeah. How does this team keep finding new ways and adapting every week, finding a way to win?
Yeah, we just came out with it was a bit of a twist game plan at last minute. We had some good opportunities. Appreciate it. We had some good opportunities, and the coverages, we took advantage of it. And we just making plays. Zach told me before the game, he's just going to try to give me the ball and make something happen. So that was the game plan for real.
Cleveland has had your number. They've won the last 5 games in this series, last 8 of 9, dating back to 2018. But your defense really ended that streak today, especially limiting the Browns' run game to less than 100 yards. How impressive were they?
Yeah, our defense is one of the best in this league right now, especially in the AFC. You know, they've been doing their thing week in and week out, and I can't be more proud of those guys right now.
At 9-4, you're still tied with Baltimore for the AFC North lead. Yeah. 5 games left. You know, very tough schedule still ahead. Is this deja vu for you?
Nah, not really. No deja vu. Just, you know, next game up, taking one game at a time. Got to get back in the lab and we'll be ready for next week.
Congrats, great win.
Thank you.
All right, we have an instant update for you. Buccaneers, 49ers. How about this? Purdy just pitches it to Debo, the running back, Samuel. He skates up the right sideline on the opening drive. San Francisco goes down and they score. Give the ball to Debo, good things happen. They are up 7-0 in the first quarter.
And Nate, anybody on the sidelines, if they see Debo coming that way,
Move out the way.
right? Exactly. Go ahead, Bo.
You know, I was going to say about the Bengals. The Bengals are at the Bucs next week, and the Ravens are at the Browns next week. We don't know what the story is with Lamar Jackson, whether or not he'll be able to play in that game. I know Cleveland will make it a tough game. I thought Deshaun Watson played better this week, markedly better this week than he did last week. So that will be a tough game for the Ravens. But, you know, when you think about the Bengals now, this 5 in a row, they are flying, and they are surging at the right time, just like they did last year.
Yeah, we talked about it at the beginning of the season, and I remember you were mentioning how there wasn't a preseason for Joe Burrow in this offense. He had the appendectomy, so there were going to be some bumps along the way, but they are catching the rhythm at the right time. And hopefully they can continue to get healthy at the right time. They got Jamar Chase back, still a few other guys that are banged up.
Yeah, no T. Higgins, no Tyler Boyd. They did not finish the game today. But I'll tell you, the one people that have been healthy has been the offensive line. They've had the same offensive line combination now for this entire year. And anytime those guys can stay together, you just get better because the continuity takes time for offensive linemen. All the communication you have to do from a pass protection standpoint, but even from a running game, Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon, that's a good 1-2 running combination right now. You put that with Joe Burrow in this passing game, and the defense, Phil, you said it before, they took and stopped a good Cleveland running game.
71 yards rushing for them. Cincinnati ran the football very well. Boomer, you've said it. And listen, Joe Burrow's on fire. Man, he's making the plays when he has to. You get somebody open, he's making the throws. And today, how about this throw here? The anticipation. Jamar Chase, oh, there it is. I caught it. Man, that was such a last second. And then this, the flea flicker. I think this was early in the third quarter, right? Am I right or wrong? Anybody? Nope. Okay, thanks for the help. But right down the field, what a call to catch the defense off guard by the Cincinnati Bengals. Zach Taylor calls the plays on offense. Lou Anarumo on defense. Man, they got it going. They really do on both sides, running, throwing. The defense can stop the run. Now, the only bad thing is Mike Hilton. I didn't see him come back in the game. They lost their best corner, and Chidobe Awuzie, he's out. But so far, they managed it very well.
And I'll tell you, for the Baltimore Ravens, they got back to what they are, man. They're going to run the football. They got over 200 yards rushing.
That's what they do.
You know, and it's like that was a game that you knew that they were going to do. They threw it for less than 100 yards. And so it's almost like I'm not even concerned because that's just who they are.
Right.
Like because they're going to play defense. They're going to try to take the ball away. And they get Lamar back at some point, and they hopefully can get Tyler or get Huntley back. But when Lamar comes back with some fresh legs, this team could be peaking right around the right time.
Yeah, I think about the Steelers and the Jets today. Both had turnovers, and both of the turnovers for the Jets were killers. Michael Carter's in the red zone was a killer. Joe Flacco came in initially. He fumbles. That ends up into a Buffalo field goal. And then, of course, Mitch Trubisky with those 3 interceptions. And they were all on their side of the 50.
Yeah, the other two, we showed the one in the end zone, which is a long pass, but the other two was in the midst of a drive. It was just some bad decisions, I think, on Mitch Trubisky's part. Look at him right here. He doesn't even look on the left side of the field. There's a guy who's comes Smith. Yes, you're throwing a ball over the middle. You have to open up your eyes. And here's Patrick Queen. They got Rohan Smith. I talked about when they made this trade. So Patrick Queen, we saw him rush. We saw him drop. He's a football player. Take away the play calling. Take away everything else. Let him be a guy who can make a difference on the field. Sometimes there's players like that. I've never had linebackers that the more responsibility you give to them, the slower they play.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you take it away from them and just want to be football players.
Flying around.
And taking the responsibility to give to Rohan Smith and let Patrick Queen just play. He is making play after play.
Yeah, Patrick Queen is doing his job. You know, of course, they went out and got Roquan Smith. That freed up Patrick Queen because you're right. Before he's in there, I got to call the play. What do I got to do with the middle linebacker, which is difficult. Didn't work out. But how about Baltimore and Pitt? Both quarterbacks could be, got hurt. Kenny Pickett and Tyler Huntley. Will they be back next week? I think it's a big deal. Yeah. I think it's going to be hard for the Baltimore Ravens with the third-string quarterback, which I talked about earlier today. 13 quarterbacks were out. Now we might have 15. There were 29 different guys that came in and played, so this could be tough.
What was the nickname given to Joe Burrow? You guys said
Joe Cool.
Joe Cool.
Joe Shiesty.
I think Assassin's better.
that was the most recent one.
Just
huh?
because,
Quiet.
man,
Yeah.
you
Well,
can't
and look
get a
here.
better compliment than that, mate.
Well, let's find out if, in fact, the coach had anything to say about that after the game. It was the coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, Zach Taylor, addressing.
Overcame some adversity early, had to find a way to get yards, score points. They did a nice job doing that, but we were able to do that because our defense, you guys played your tails off the entire game. We had 6 rushing yards in the second half. 6. They take a lot of pride in being able to run the football, and you guys shut them down. A big reason for that is our D tackles, BJ and DJ.
No, it's
How about that? Listen, Zach Taylor, he's been through some rough times as a head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. It wasn't easy, but now that he has the players, the pieces, as we like to call it, the technology on his team, you can see the identity really starting to take shape in this squad.
Well, you know, when we had Joe Burrow in here with the Heisman, I handed him that Bengal helmet.
Yeah.
I said, welcome to the Bengals. They went out and got him Jamar Chase.
Yep.
They went out and bought him an offensive line this offseason. They've done all the right things financially around him to get them where they are today. And that's why they're going to be one of the favorites to get to the Super Bowl out of the AFC.
I'll tell you what else they did. I thought they cleaned the slate with the football team, and they made sure that Joe Burrow was the true leader of the football team. And, of course, they all talk about that he is. He acts like it. He does lead them, that's for sure.
Important, huh?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Zach Taylor on offense, Lou Anarumo on defense, they've got 2 really good football coaches.
Yeah, Zach Taylor's on fire, too.
They've got the right leader there, so they did clean house to make sure he would be the guy. The State Farm postgame show will continue after this.
Want updates on the action? Just tell Siri, show me football scores.
Here we go. Jacksonville Jaguars and Tennessee Titans. Trevor Lawrence throw. The pass is tipped, and Zay Jones keeps his concentration, makes the catch, getting both feet in. 20-14. Jacksonville at the time. Nice job by Zay Jones. Then Trevor Lawrence, who was hot, throws into the end zone. Evan Ingram, the ex-Giant. What a catch by him. The contested catch, it made it 33-14 Jacksonville. They go on to win 36-22. Look at the numbers. Trevor Lawrence was fantastic. Man, he's had about 3 or 4 games this year where you look at him and go, he is truly the #1 pick of the draft and showing it.
And no question about it. Just an outstanding game. And afterwards, it was our Amanda Renner talking with Trevor Lawrence.
What are you seeing from this offense? It just keeps getting better and better.
Just we have answers. You know, our guys have done a great job of really knowing the plan, executing the plan, and then when something happens that maybe we're not expecting or isn't really perfect for the play we have called, we have answers and we're able to adjust. And our chemistry is really great right now. Our guys up front are doing a heck of a job communicating, and it's just right where we want to be, playing our best ball at the end of the season and see where we stack up at the end. So,
Congratulations, good celebrate with your team. Thanks.
All right. Texans at the Cowboys, guys. How about Jeff Driscoll? Excuse me. He's going to find Amari Rodgers, former Green Bay Packer. He's going to come down with a touchdown. Texans take a 17-14 lead. In the third quarter, 4th and goal. Texans defense standing tall, baby. Then Driscoll is going to try his luck on 4th and goal, and he does not make it. Now, look, they're up 23-20 right there. Dak Prescott leads his team 98 yards. In about 1 minute and 41 seconds, and it ends with a touchdown by Ezekiel Elliott. And the Texans lose to the Cowboys as they squeak by 27-23.
Here we go. The Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants on 4th down. Jalen Hurts passes deep to Devontae Smith, who makes the grab and travel and walks in the end zone for a 41-yard touchdown. It made it 14-0 Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts. What else? Does he ever get hit when he runs the ball? Doesn't look like a 10-yard keeper for the touchdown. 34-14 at that time. They clinch a playoff berth. The Philadelphia Eagles do, and Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, man, they don't try to pour it on. It just keeps coming to them.
You're right about that, Phil. Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions, Jared Goff. He's going to find a deep and wide
open.
Jamison Williams' first TD reception of his career. How about that? The young fella, after having an ACL injury, bouncing back. But this is a big-time run and pretty much ices the game. Justin Jackson takes it to the left side, 15-yard TD. The Lions were favored going into this one. Might be a little bit of a shocker for people outside of the Lions facility, but not to the Detroit Lions the way that they played. They came into this game knowing that they were going to get the victory, and they did.
Okay, guys, instant update. Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. Take a look at Patrick Mahomes. He's 10 of 13, 179 yards.
Oh, man.
And look at this play. You got to be kidding me.
What?
This is going to be taken 56 yards for the touchdown by Jerick McKinnon. Like I told you, 10 of 13, 179 yards. That touchdown pass by the great Patrick Mahomes. They lead the Broncos, who can't seem to score a touchdown any weekend. 13-0.
I'll tell you, we got an update. How about Carolina going up to Seattle here? You're going to see Sam Darnold finding Shi Smith from 13 yards out, and they now have a 10-0 lead over Seattle. Carolina Panthers under Steve Wilks are playing some good football week in and week out right now, and maybe Sam Darnold is starting to feel comfortable within that offense. I'll tell you what, shout out to Steve Wilks for what he's doing down there.
Yeah, a couple things. Number one, the MVP race, Jalen Hurts had a great game against the Giants. I don't think he sweat in that game. He had 3 touchdowns, 2 in the air, 1 on the ground. Terrific game. Patrick Mahomes is in the midst of a terrific game here. Joe Burrow, a little struggle today against the Browns, but led his team to victory. So I think those are the 3 guys at the top of the MVP race right now as we speak.
Getting back to Jalen Hurts, he is playing incredible right now. And let's give credit where credit is due. That offensive line is protected. He sits in that pocket with so much composure, and then he's making these reads so comfortably, going through his progressions. It seems like everything they dial up is working, and right now he's playing like an MVP.
Last 5 games, Trevor Lawrence, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. They're only 2 games back right now, the Tennessee Titans, and they play them again. So Jacksonville, I'll tell you what, they could still end up winning the AFC South.
The coach has got a crush on the Jaguars.
He does. It's
unbelievable.
Yes.
He must have talked about him 20 times during the game today. But here's my thing. The Detroit Lions, both sides of the ball, I think they're really well coached. They do a lot of stuff. And Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, wow, is he doing a tremendous job with that
let me give you the last 10 seconds, because not just a crush on them. You spread your love evenly. Steve Wilks and what he's doing with Carolina.
He's got them playing week in, week out. He's going through different quarterbacks right now. And I'll tell you what, you go up to Seattle and they're up 10-0. If they can hold on, we'll see. But I'll tell you what, they compete every week.
And that's all you said you wanted to see throughout. Hey, folks, the State Farm postgame show continues after this.
This is the State Farm postgame show.
And welcome back to the State Farm postgame show. Next Sunday, it's an NFL on CBS doubleheader with the early games headlined by the Chiefs on the road against the Texans later. A huge matchup in Tampa when Burrow and the Bengals face a tough test against Brady's Bucks. We'll get you set for that kickoff beginning at noon right here with the NFL Today. And that's next Sunday here on CBS. And if you notice that familiar face at the end, that is Jonathan Jones, our NFL insider. He'll get us caught up on the latest injury news.
Yeah, some injury news with 3 quarterbacks. We're going to start with the New York Jets and Mike White. He went to the hospital for precautionary reasons with those rib injuries. And I'm saying injuries because he left the game twice there. Robert Saleh hoping that he's going to be healthy enough to play next week. If he is healthy enough, he would start that game, which is an indication that Zach Wilson would still remain inactive. Meanwhile, in the Ravens and the Steelers game, some quarterback updates. Tyler Huntley had to leave the game due to the concussion protocol. John Harbaugh said after the game that Huntley was reciting the months of the year backwards, so he takes that as a good sign that he's going to be able to clear concussion protocol this week. Meanwhile, Kenny Pickett went into concussion protocol, and Mike Tomlin not all that interested in discussing it, but here is the injury here, and he went into the blue tent. It was a bit of a strange deal. know exactly when he got those symptoms, but obviously went into protocol. And then if he can't go this week, it will be Mitch Trubisky with Mason Rudolph backing him up.
Wow, that was such a hard-looking hit there. Hey, who here can go backwards as far as the months of the year?
Well, Phil can't. We know that.
Shots fired.
You know what? I don't want Phil to get upset. We're going to step
You big
aside for a
dummy.
break. Back with more after this. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and an important report on the dangers of social media. That'll be followed by the National Christmas Tree Lighting and the CBS special, Must Love Christmas. That's tonight on CBS. Back to Boomer.
Hey, JV, check out Patrick Mahomes. There's only one Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, folks, and he does stuff like this. And we saw this stuff 4 years ago. This is against the Denver Broncos. He throws the ball left-handed. And now today, take a look at this little throw against the Broncos again in those blue and orange uniforms. This one to Jerick McKinnon. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is.
If you've ever played the position, with all the craziness that goes on out there, to have the wherewithal, the poise, the ability to be so creative. It's
the confidence.
It's unbelievable. It really is.
These are grown men getting paid millions of dollars to stop him, and he's out there like he's at recess, flicking the ball around.
Well, that's what it is to him. What level did he play in where he wasn't this guy?
Right.
And the answer is all of them.
Right, right.
I have to say one thing. Earlier today, we had Caleb Williams in here, the Heisman Trophy winner from USC. Every single one of us looked at him and said, man, we wish we were coming out this year to be able to play in the NFL. He would have been the #1 overall pick this year. I don't think anybody would have doubted that next year.
Yeah.
Whoever is the worst team in the league next year, that's the kid you want as your quarterback.
He's the next kind of guy.
You can feel it. You can just feel it when you're talking to him.
Yeah, just the presence of
When you see guys
I don't know if I
doing
can
what
feel it. I
Patrick
can see it when he's on the
Mahomes
field.
does, you've got these talented athletes in your family. Do they even try any of this stuff when they're playing?
No, listen, you have two quarterbacks that help kids in that position all of the time. I don't see Phil teaching that to these young kids.
But there is something. Hold on. There is something.
Absolutely.
What?
That's what you teach these kids. That's part of the game now.
Do you teach one-handed catches?
Yes.
I guess I do, yeah. Hey, but getting back to...
I tell you what, I'm hurt by what God said about that.
Getting back to Caleb Williams when he came in as one of the person of the show, all of us go up to him and we're like, hey, man, how you doing, man? All right, that's pretty stout, man. We all felt him up, literally. That's why we know he's a good prospect.
And guess who started that? Phil Cowher.
He did.
Hey, folks, we thank you so very much. Yeah, Phil will elaborate why he's teaching young quarterbacks what we're seeing right now. We will join you next week on another edition of the NFL Today on CBS.